Hey, what's up everybody? It's me, Jordan, and I'm back with another drawing video. In this video, I'm drawing Grimmjow from Bleach, and I did this line work a long time ago. I think it was early last year. So I've had this line work lying around for ages, and I thought it was about time I coloured it, and I think it turns out pretty cool. Honestly, the line work, looking at it now, I'm not super happy with it, just because I did it a while back, and I think my line work's improved a lot since then. It's a little bit boring. I mean, he's wearing like a cloak, so there's not heaps of detail going on there because you miss out a lot of the detail in the hair and that stuff, but I still think it looks cool, and I think especially how it's coloured, it ends up looking pretty cool. The design of this piece was based off an artwork by an artist under the name of Sideburn004. She's a Russian artist, and you can check her out on DeviantArt. She's got heaps of Bleach artworks, and they're all really awesome. Like, they pretty much look like official artwork, like Teep Cabot. So definitely check her out. I tweaked the design a little bit, but she does like watercolor paintings and that kind of thing, and they're all really cool, so check them out. And I kind of tried to replicate some of that in this artwork, just the way that I colored. And when you see me coloring the cloak that he's wearing, I definitely tried to get some of the watercolor look and do that with Copic markers, and I think it turned out pretty cool. So this is the first drawing video that I've done since I'm back from my holiday, and it just feels so awesome to be back home and making videos. And I just really miss that, just being in my own space at my work desk, being able to draw and make these videos for you guys, because I really enjoy doing that. So at the moment I'm still editing some of the vlogs that I made, and it feels really weird to be editing vlogs just because I'm looking at myself instead of my drawing, so it's a little bit strange, but hopefully you guys enjoy some of that stuff and you get a little bit more of an insight into who I am as a person a little bit, and not just my artwork. So hopefully you guys enjoy them, and they'll be coming out over the coming weeks. I'm not really sure because I'm making this video and it's going to be a while before I actually release this, because I've still got some other stuff coming, but there's just lots of stuff coming, and I hope you guys enjoy it. What I like about this drawing, and what I think makes it work, because it's a pretty big face, and if the shading isn't interesting on the face, it's just going to look really boring. If it's just like flat shading, it's not going to look good. What I like about this one is it's got some pretty extreme shading. The right side of his face is kind of shrouded behind the cloak a bit, so you've got some purples kind of in the shading there as well, and I darken it up even more as I go on with the shading of this. I'll add some pastel shading as well, and that just smooths it out a bit more. I also add shading with my Prismacolor pencils. This adds more of a textured look, so it just depends what you want to go for. I don't really show the whole process of colouring with my Prismacolors, because I try and keep these videos somewhat shorter than they would be if I did the whole process, because I know people get bored. Not everyone gets bored, but a lot of people do, so I just try and keep these reasonably short. I also couldn't resist adding blood to this drawing. You guys know how much I love drawing blood, and I tried not to go too overboard with this one, and I don't think I did. I think it just adds to the picture and it kind of fits in with it. It's just got a really dark look, and I like that about it. I like the light source as well, coming from a slight left hand side, and it gives it nice contrast between the shadows and then the highlights on the face. I used to enjoy watching Bleach. I think there's some really cool characters in the anime and manga. There was lots of filler, so that's kind of why I stopped watching it. I mean, I watched hundreds of episodes, and now it's kind of just too daunting to even get back into and finish. But what I liked about it was the characters. I just think it's a shame when some of these animes go on for way longer than they really should. I mean, it should be quality over quantity. They can still do a long series, because that can be good, because you can really get to know all the different characters and they can go really deep. But when they're just doing filler arcs and stuff that are really boring, it's just so off-putting. And I know it makes them money, seeing as I've got a big series, but it's just a little bit of a shame in my opinion. But maybe that's just me. Well, it's probably not just me. I think most people can agree there's lots of filler in Bleach. But at least there's cool characters like Grimmjow. That's why I decided to draw him. I'm 23 now, so it gets hard for me to relate to any kind of young teen characters who are real wimpy and stuff. It just doesn't really do it for me, so I appreciate when they've got some cool characters who aren't, just complete sooks. I should quickly mention that I've already done a drawing of Ichigo, so I'll put a link up for you guys, and you can check that out if you're interested. That's actually what I'm currently using as my profile picture, unless I've changed it by the time you're watching this. But onto what I'm doing at the moment. This was the most difficult part. It's kind of simple but a little bit time consuming because it's all about building up layers. So at the moment, it looks really terrible basically, but I did a lot of work off camera and magically it all came together. I didn't really want to record the whole process because it's a little bit boring. All I was doing was just building up the blues and the kind of turquoise colors. Like I said before at the start of the video, it's based off a watercolor painting. So I was trying to get the similar kind of look with the kind of patchy colors and watercolor effects. I don't really know how else to describe it. Watercolor's got such a unique look, so it was interesting trying to emulate that. I also did shading with my Prismacolors to darken it up. The problem that I was having early on was the blues weren't quite dark enough and it was just looking washed out. A lot of the picture is taken up by his cloak, so if it doesn't look interesting, the whole drawing's just gonna look bland. And it was really looking bland at the start, so I had to make sure that I did interesting shading. That's why the original artwork by Sideburn 004 looked good, was because the watercolor effects made it look interesting. It didn't matter that there's lots of cloak because you've got the interesting and unique kind of splashes of the water and it just makes the picture. So I had to make sure that I did the same with this. I'm also adding some shading with my soft pastels, which I blend in with a tissue. It just smooths it all out and finishes it off really nicely. I added some black shading as well, just to darken it up because I wanted this to be reasonably dark, like I was saying before. It's worth mentioning that I've got a really heavy outline on the character just because the background's pretty minimalistic, so I wanted to make sure that the character stood out enough, so I did a heavy outline. Now I'm just doing the finishing touches with my white gel pen, just to put any highlights where it needs them and to make some areas pop a little bit more. And then the drawing's pretty much done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. It feels so good to be back home and making more videos for you guys. If you want to keep up to date with my artwork, check me out on Instagram. My Instagram page has grown heaps. I'm already past 20,000 followers and it's growing really quickly, way quicker than my YouTube, which is kind of annoying. But I appreciate all the support from you guys. I'm going to try and respond to more comments now that I'm back from holidays because it's just impossible for me to keep up with everything while I was on holidays. So if you've got any questions, feel free to ask in the comments and I should be able to get back to you and help you out. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by giving it a thumbs up. It really helps me out. And like always, I will catch you guys next week in next week's drawing video. Side note, I totally just dropped my Copic on the paper. As you can see in the left hand corner there, there's the grey spots on the paper. I just wasn't holding it properly, I think, and it just fell.